Bread in the oven, bacon. Here comes a rude boy Jamaican. Bread in the oven, bacon. Here comes a rude boy Jamaican.
Well, hello goodie, welcome back to my kitchen and to my channel. I'm going to show you how to make carrot porridge in your kitchen fast, easy and simple. Come on and let me show you all the ingredients what you are going to need to make this a carrot porridge turn up loud in your kitchen.
You don't remember where you're coming from. You don't remember where you're coming from. You don't remember where you're coming from. Rastafari, why you turn your back on your brother when him need you? You don't remember the days and when him feed you. You know when no obligation but to owe him some respect. All you need to do is just give him one to get turn your back on your brother when him need you.
Of course you're going to need your carrot. I have some organic carrot there, and I have about a pound of carrot right there. So you're going to need cinnamon sticks, bay leaf. You're also going to need to spice it up and make it taste real flavorful, cinnamon powder, nutmeg, salt, and vanilla. You're also going to need some cornstarch for this recipe. You could use flour if you want to, but when I'm making this kind of recipe, which is a carrot porridge, I like to use cornstarch instead of flour. Flour give it a heavier texture, and I don't like that. I'm going to be adding a fresh coconut to this recipe. If you don't have fresh coconut, go ahead and grab you a can of coconut. All right, so that will work just fine. You're also going to need some almond milk and some cane sugar for this recipe. All right, so all your amounts for this recipe will be down in the description box below. So come on and let's get started. Now, this is my very first step how I make this recipe. Now, I have my carrots there, and you just want to go ahead and trim it up a little bit. You could either put it in your processor and get it nicely chopped finely, or you could grater it. I'm going to grater mine. So that's my carrot right there. I'm going to give this a quick rinse, and I'm going to grater this. Okay, so now that my carrot is nicely grated, I'll go ahead and add this to the hot water. Now it's time to move on to my next step. I have a pot on the fire right there, and what I have in that pot is just water, and I have exactly 2 cups of water in there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and add my carrots in, and I'm going to let that carrot cook before I add anything else in there. And I'm just going to go ahead and get my coconut ready. Now, if you don't have to grate your coconut like I'm doing, you're still going to give this about 10 minutes to bubble up and all of that good stuff, right? And then you go ahead and add your coconut, your canned coconut. But I'm not going to use canned coconut. I'm using regular coconut, fresh coconut. So I'm going to go ahead and get my coconut ready. And then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our next step. So I'll see you back here. Now we're moving on to our next step. Now that's been boiling for about 5 to 7 minutes, I'd say. Starting off with about 2 to 3 cups of water. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my fresh coconut to that. And I'm going to add a total of 3 cups of coconut milk. Give that a nice little spin. Now you want to make sure that that thing has tons and tons of flavor to it. So to that I'm going to add my cinnamon stick. I'm also going to add some bay leaves to it as well. Salt for flavor. Some nutmeg. Cinnamon powder. And your vanilla. Give this a nice little mix. Okay, I'm going to let this bubble again, come to a full bubble before we do anything else with this. Now, when it starts to bubble, pretty much like that, right? You want it to come to a nice bubble. That's all the good stuff from the carrot right there. So healthy. I'm going to let this bubble for about 5 to 7 minutes. I'm going to move on and get my next step ready. Now I'm moving on to my next step. Now, you're going to need 2 things for this step. 1 cup of almond milk I have right there in that container. If you don't want to use almond milk, go ahead and use any kind of milk of your choice. Even though I use the coconut milk, I still want to give it a tons of flavor using my almond milk. That is good for our vegan community. If you're not vegan, then just use regular milk, okay? You could even use sweetened milk or evaporated milk if you want, but I'm using almond milk for this step. I'm going to go ahead and add some cornstarch to it. If you don't want to use cornstarch, use flour. The only difference is the flour is going to give it a heavier texture. The cornstarch is going to make it more mild. So that's why I'm using cornstarch for this particular recipe. And mix this in until it comes nice and smooth. We don't need no lump in our porridge. We don't need lumpy porridge. Now we're moving on to that next step, and I'm bringing you guys in closer so you could see exactly how not to have lumpy porridge in your kitchen. You want to make sure that your water is boiling nicely, just like that. Once you start pouring in your liquid, you're going to go ahead and stir constantly, because once you stop stirring, that's when you have lumpy porridge. So you just continue to stir. Now it's up to you to decide how thick you want your porridge. I do not like my porridge extremely thick, but if you want it a little thicker, just go ahead and add a little bit more cornstarch to it, or flour. Now my porridge is all done, right? Nicely cooked. It's time to sweeten that thing up just the way you like it. I'm going to add some organic cane sugar to mine. You want to make sure you turn that fire off. Turn off the fire so that way your porridge don't get watery. If you sweeten your porridge with the fire still bubbling, chances are you're going to have watery porridge. Alright, so that is all done. I'm going to get this on a plate and I am going to be ready to eat. I'm going to let this cook for a good 30 minutes on medium heat. Cover it up nice and make it simmer. And when it's done simmer, it's time for we eat. So see you back in a few minutes.
So this is in with your foundation, full coverage, you know, like bam. And last but not least, the last thing I tend to go for in my makeup collection is this palette right here. Let me show you what this baby looks like. It has a whole bunch of concealers. I believe it's $10 for this palette.